Welcome to History with Herodotus, where the boundaries of time and space are bridged by the power of human curiosity. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey through the age of exploration, an era that would reshape the world and redefine the possibilities of human endeavor. As we delve into this captivating narrative, imagine yourself standing at the threshold of a vast, uncharted ocean, with the whispers of the past guiding you toward the horizon. In the midst of the 15th century, the world was poised on the cusp of transformation. The medieval period, with its rigid hierarchies and limited geographical knowledge, was slowly giving way to an era of unprecedented discovery and expansion. It was an age when the thrill of the unknown beckoned to brave adventurers, intrepid sailors, and visionary leaders, all of whom would leave an indelible mark on the course of history. To understand the complexities of this pivotal moment, we must first turn our gaze toward the ancient civilizations that laid the groundwork for the age of exploration. The Phoenicians, with their remarkable seafaring prowess, had established a network of trade routes that spanned the Mediterranean, while the Greeks and Romans had expanded the boundaries of geographical knowledge through their conquests and explorations. As the Roman Empire began to decline, the torch of exploration was passed to the Arabs, who would play a crucial role in preserving and advancing the scientific knowledge of the ancient world. The works of Ptolemy, with his groundbreaking treatise on geography, and the ingenious inventions of Islamic scholars, such as the astrolabe, would later inspire European explorers to venture beyond the boundaries of the known world. Meanwhile, in Europe, the seeds of exploration were being sown in the fertile soil of maritime cities like Genoa, Venice, and Lisbon. The rise of a wealthy merchant class, coupled with the growing demand for exotic spices and luxury goods, created an environment in which the spirit of adventure could flourish. It was here that we find the likes of Marco Polo, whose tales of the Orient would ignite the imagination of a young generation, including a certain Christopher Columbus, who would soon become an instrumental figure in shaping the course of history. As we navigate the intricate web of events leading up to the age of exploration, we find ourselves in the midst of a vibrant tapestry, woven from threads of curiosity, ambition, and innovation. In the years preceding the great voyages of discovery, the Iberian Peninsula, particularly Portugal, emerged as a hotbed of maritime activity. The marriage of Prince Henry the Navigator to the daughter of the King of Portugal had secured a significant influx of wealth and resources, which would be channeled into the development of a powerful fleet and the training of skilled sailors. Under the patronage of Prince Henry, a new generation of explorers began to push the boundaries of the known world. The likes of Gillianus, who dared to round Cape Bojador in 1434, and Nuno Tristão, who explored the coast of West Africa, paved the way for more ambitious endeavors. As the Portuguese probed deeper into the Atlantic, they stumbled upon a cluster of islands, including Madeira and the Azores, which would serve as vital stepping stones for future expeditions. As the 15th century wore on, the momentum of exploration continued to build. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 had sent shockwaves throughout Europe, disrupting trade routes and creating an urgent need for alternative paths to the east. It was against this backdrop that a young Christopher Columbus, fueled by his passion for the sea and his conviction in the existence of a western route to Asia, began to formulate a plan that would change the course of history forever. As Christopher Columbus's plan began to take shape, he spent years petitioning European monarchs for support, finally securing backing from King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain in 1492. With a fleet of 3 small ships, the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Niña, Columbus set sail from the port of Palos, Spain, on August 3, 1492, bound for the Indies by a western route. The journey was not without its challenges, as the crew faced treacherous seas, mutinous sailors, and the daunting prospect of the unknown. Yet, on October 12, 1492, after 70 days at sea, Columbus and his men spotted land, which they believed to be part of the East Indies, but was in fact the island of Guanahani in the Bahamas. The news of Columbus's discovery sent shockwaves throughout Europe, as the possibility of a new trade route to Asia seemed within reach. Over the next few years, Columbus would make 3 more voyages to the New World, exploring the Caribbean and the coast of South America, and establishing Spanish colonies on the islands of Hispaniola and Cuba. As the Spanish established their presence in the New World, they encountered indigenous populations, such as the Taino people, who had inhabited the islands for centuries. The meeting of these two cultures would have profound consequences, as the Europeans introduced new diseases, technologies, and customs that would forever alter the course of Native American history. Meanwhile, other European powers were not idle, as they too sought to establish their presence in the New World. In 1497, John Cabot, an Italian explorer working for the British Crown, set sail from Bristol, England, and reached the coast of North America, likely landing on the island of Newfoundland or Cape Breton. Over the next few years, Cabot made 2 more voyages to North America, exploring the eastern seaboard and searching for a northwest passage to Asia. As the British and Spanish established their claims in the New World, other European powers, such as the Portuguese and the French, also began to explore and settle the Americas. One of the most significant events of this period was the voyage of Vasco da Gama, who, in 1497 to 1499, sailed around Africa and established a sea route from Europe to Asia. This journey opened up new trade opportunities between Europe and the East Indies and marked the beginning of European dominance over the global spice trade. As the Portuguese established their presence in the Indian Ocean, they encountered other cultures, such as the Arabs and the Chinese, who had long been active in the region. The meeting of these cultures would have a profound impact on the development of global commerce and the exchange of ideas. As the age of exploration continued to unfold, other explorers, such as Ferdinand Magellan and Juan Sebastian Elcano, would push the boundaries of human knowledge and achievement. In 1519 to 1522, Magellan led the first expedition to circumnavigate the globe, a journey that would take him across the Atlantic, through the strait at the tip of South America, and into the Pacific Ocean. Although Magellan himself did not complete the journey, his voyage marked a major milestone in the history of exploration, as it demonstrated the possibility of reaching Asia by a western route and opened up new opportunities for trade and discovery. As the age of exploration continued to unfold, other explorers, such as Juan Sebastian Elcano, would complete the journey that Magellan had started, returning to Spain in 1522 with a small crew and a wealth of knowledge about the world's oceans and trade routes. This marked the beginning of a new era of global commerce and cultural exchange, as European powers established colonies and trading posts around the world. The Portuguese, who had been at the forefront of exploration, continued to expand their empire, establishing a presence in Brazil, Africa, and Asia. Meanwhile, the Spanish focused on consolidating their power in the Americas, exploiting the rich resources of the New World and spreading Christianity to the indigenous populations. One of the most significant consequences of the Age of Exploration was the transfer of plants, animals, and diseases between the Old and New Worlds, a process known as the Columbian Exchange. This had a profound impact on the ecosystems and cultures of the Americas, as well as on the global economy. As European crops such as wheat and sugar were introduced to the New World, they became staples of the colonial diet, while American crops like maize and potatoes were introduced to Europe, revolutionizing agriculture and demographics. The exchange also had a devastating impact on Native American populations who were exposed to diseases like smallpox and influenza, to which they had no immunity. As the Age of Exploration drew to a close, European powers began to consolidate their empires and establish formal colonies in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The Spanish established the Viceroyalty of Peru, which covered much of South America, while the Portuguese created the state of Brazil, which would become a major center of sugar production. The British, who had been relatively late to the game, established colonies on the eastern seaboard of North America, which would eventually become the United States. In the words of historian J.H., it opened up new trade routes and established global commerce, transferred plants, animals, and diseases between the Old and New Worlds, and laid the foundations for European colonization and imperialism. Today, the legacy of the Age of Exploration can be seen in the modern nation-states that were forged in the fires of colonialism, as well as in the cultural exchange and globalization that continue to shape our world. The era's impact on the environment, demographics, and economies of the Americas, Africa, and Asia is still being felt, and its influence can be seen in everything from the food we eat to the languages we speak. The courage, curiosity, and ambition of explorers like Columbus, Magellan, and Elcano helped to create a new global landscape, one that is characterized by cultural exchange, economic interconnectedness, and environmental transformation. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.